In this video, I'll show you how to calibrate a disk stylus in PC-DMIS, but more specifically, this tutorial will focus on a disk stylus used on an analog scanning probe. The analog scanning calibration routine is very different from the routine used in a touch trigger probe like a TP20. These probe types are great for measuring otherwise hard to measure features like deeply recessed internal grooves, for example. And when we incorporate analog scanning with this type of probe, you can see that the measurement is fast and efficient. For this demo, I'm using an 18 by 2.6 mm stainless steel disc probe. On this stylus, you'll notice a small center locating ring on the underside of the disc. During calibration, PC-DMIS can use this locating ring to take a circular pattern of 4 hits and calculate a plane on the bottom face of the disc. That plane is then used to properly orientate the disc face for calibration. Note that this is the default strategy that PC-DMIS uses, but the user has the option to disable that portion of the calibration. To disable the initial plane measurement, double-click the tip component in your build, then uncheck Measure Plane on Bottom of Disk. Click OK to save and exit. To launch the calibration, let's go ahead and press Measure. The recommended parameter settings are number of hits set to 5, system mode set to DCC, and calibration mode set to default. This combination will unlock PC-DMIS's built-in disk calibration algorithm for discrete hit analog probes. I'll break down the routine step by step as it's running. Before I do that, I'll add one cautionary note here. If this is the first time you are calibrating this probe, I would recommend using manual plus DCC instead of DCC in the system mode settings. This is because the initial top hit in DCC mode is sometimes targeted a little too low and may crash into the calibration sphere with a small pre-hit retract setting. All subsequent calibrations can then be set to DCC. Okay, so let's click Measure to launch the calibration and select No when asked if the calibration sphere has moved. Since we disabled the initial plane measurement, we only have one initial hit at the top of the sphere. This initial top hit gives PC-DMIS a stable reference pole point, ensuring that the stylus is centered and that the bottom of the disc is properly orientated. This is followed by 3 centering hits at, above, and below the equator, as shown here. The purpose of these hits is to establish the disc stylus centerline and face orientation relative to the qualification sphere before PC-DMIS runs its actual calibration hits. Next, a total of 12 hits are taken around the equator, 5 counterclockwise and 7 clockwise. This concludes the calibration routine for this stylus, but because this is a highly accurate scanning probe, it is recommended that we recalibrate the probe using the Scan RDV option. Scan RDV adds a quick verification scan around the sphere. It checks how the probe behaves while it's actually scanning, not just while it's touching at single points, and uses that information to refine the calibration for better scanning accuracy. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.